Alright guys, we're starting with Markdown tutorial, okay? But for us to study Markdown, we need to have an interface where we can study Markdown, alright? Now, what we're going to use in this tutorial is Google Collab, but you can also use Jupyter Notebook if you're already familiar with that. Otherwise, let's continue. Using Google Collab because it doesn't involve any installation. We don't have to install anything. Okay, it runs online just like Google Docs and Google Sheets and stuff. So go to Google and search for Collab, all right? Google Collab, and then you're gonna see the URL. It's actually collab.research.google.com, right? Once you click on that, it opens up. So Google Collab is like online text editor. All right, they have already installed everything for you. You can run Python on it. So this is what mine looks like. Now you need to know that I'm using a MacBook just in case you're not seeing something 100% identical to mine. I'm using a MacBook. So my MacBook default laptop theme is set to dark. That's why this interface is dark. Yours might be light, all right? Now here you will see your past notebooks. Look at the tab here, it says recent. If you click here, it says examples. These are sample examples. And you see there's a Markdown guide. Here's an access. It has access to your Google Drive. So once you create a document and work on a project, it will be saved in your Google Drive. And you can also connect your GitHub account, all right, so that your code can be saved on GitHub, and then you can upload code, all right, to start with. So we're starting with recent, and we're clicking on notebook, a new notebook, all right. So it's opening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So this is what it looks like. So consider this your interface, just like you have PyCharm, and just like you have other ones, just like VS Code, all right? This is just a text editor. Now it runs Python. First thing you want to do is to name the project. So I'm going to name mine Markdown tutorial. Okay. So what does Markdown do? Markdown is basically, let me click outside. Markdown basically is a shorthand form of designing your page. Instead of you writing HTML, CSS to design a document, all right, put heading and so on. With Markdown, you don't need it. It's just a shorthand form. And Markdown is so important that you need it in so many things. For instance, it also runs on GitHub. If you want to write your GitHub README page, you need Markdown, knowledge of Markdown. And you can really use it to write an ebook. There are platforms that use Markdown to write ebooks. So with respect to data science, we need Markdown to write documents and notes for the colleagues we're working with, and just about every other thing. So when you look at Google Colab, now we've changed the name. You see that there are links here. The next thing you notice is that there is a code versus text here. So if you want to write Markdown, you click on text. If you want to use code, if you want to write Python code, you click on code. There are a couple more buttons here, but these are just the basic ones you need. Now another thing you need to know is that this is not connected. So it's not connected to the compiler, all right, the Python engine that is going to run our code. But once we start writing a code, it will connect. So if you click here, you see many other options. We'll generally leave it that way. Don't even click the connect. It's going to connect by itself. All right. Now on the top right hand corner, you'll see that there's share. So you can write code here on Markdown and share with people and give them access. They can edit or just view, just like a Google Docs. You can switch your Google account here. All right. So a couple of other things that you can access from here, but let's start with a simple Python code and then we'll switch to Markdown. Okay, simple Python code, print hello world. I'll call it hello world. Okay, M for Markdown. So we've written this. This is a simple Python code, and notice that nothing has happened. But then there is a button here. This says play. All right. If you click play, it runs the code. Okay. So I'll click play, and the code is running. And make sure you have your internet connection. And look at what's happening here. It's connecting. So the first time you click play, it's going to connect. Look at this, initializing. Okay, connected. Now it's connected. Our code is going to run, and it ran and says hello world. You see? So you can write full Python code here. Like if you hit enter button, you can say x equal to 2, y equal to 3, print x times y. Okay, and then hit if you hold the shift key on your keyboard, this Markdown has a lot of this interface, Collab, has a lot of shortcuts. If you hold the shift key on your keyboard and hit enter, it's going to run the code and give you another code interface. Okay, so that's what I just did. So it ran and told me hello world, which is the first one, and then printed 6, which is the second one. Now clicking on this, you can remove the result and then rerun it in case you change the code. That's how to remove the result. Now looking at the top right hand corner, there are a number of links. Now the first one says up or down. So if you want to move your screen, let's say you have so many codes you have written on your page and you want to move your screen, slide your screen up or down, that's what you use this for. So if I click here now, you see that my screen has been slid up. All right. Okay, so I can move my code interface up and down. So if I have another one, let me press Ctrl Enter again. Shift Enter. Now I have 3 code interfaces. So this one says print welcome. Okay, now I've done this. I can actually, let me run it first. Click run and boom, that ran. Now I can actually use this to move it up. Look at this. It's now up here, and then this one is down. All right. Now the interesting thing to note is that it goes with each result. Okay. And you can close an interface. So this now is irrelevant to me. This one is empty. We've not written any code in it. So we can slide to the right and close it. So look at this. Delete, and it's out. See? Okay. So the next link is a link, all right? So if you click here, you'll see that you can copy the link and share this particular piece of code. So just for this cell, all right? So if you're working with someone and you just want to show them a sample of the code you've written, that's the link for it. Now, if you want to leave comments, let's say you're working in a group, you want to leave comments, this is how to do that. All right, here is where you leave the comments. Now the interesting thing here, which I like to use often, is this is for settings. There are a number of things you can do in settings. Look at default key bindings. This is font size, default font size. I set mine at 20. You can set yours at any point. Okay, this is a Collab indentation, 2 tabs, and then a whole lot of settings you can do here. Okay, you can leave it at default if you want. And then there are a lot of things. For instance, here you can link your GitHub. All right. So at the end of the day, you just click save, and now you have something to work with. All right, you can click around and learn a whole lot of other things about this interface, but it's just so simple and super powerful. Now the difference between this and Jupyter Notebook is that Jupyter Notebook, you need to download I think a 500 MB file and install it. So Jupyter Notebook runs on your system. Okay, if you need to install Python on your system and a whole lot of things. We're going to get to that, but let's start with Markdown. Now we've written some Python code. Let's revert to Markdown. So what do? We close this interface, right? So we come to the right and then close. So now we're left with this. The very first thing we want to look into in Markdown is, let me close this, let me edit. If you click outside here, all right, if you click outside, let me close this. you will see that Google will ask you, look at this, code or text. So if I click text, it has shown me text where I can write text. Look at text. So let's say the quick brown fox jumps over a lazy dog. All right, this is a text, and this is the interface. So see this as my editor versus my result, which is my HTML page, all right, or browser page. So as you can see, I've written this and it runs. Now there are a number of shortcuts and controls I have here. So I could highlight this, for instance, and make it bold. Once you make it bold, it becomes bold here. Can you see? I know this text is tiny, but it's now bold. But what the control is using here is actually Markdown control, because in Markdown, you don't even need all this as long as you know the little Markdown syntax. So let's start with the first one. In Markdown, the first, if you put a hash, if you put a star sign, all right, inside, if you put any text inside as 2 star signs, it becomes what? Italics. Look at this. It becomes italics. So note that down. I think you should get a notebook so you can note some of these commands I'm going to show you. So the next thing you do is, what if you put underscore? Another way to do italics is to use underscore. So let's do underscore. As you can see, underscore is also italics. That's Markdown syntax. What if we put double underscore? This is underscore, underscore. What do you see? Double underscore becomes bold. All right. What of triple underscore? Triple underscore. So triple underscore becomes italics bold. It's in italics and it's bold. So what if we do it 4 times? 4 times, you see? It's back to bold. So it keeps repeating that way. The more you add, the more it switches between bold and italics. All right, you see, it's back to bold. So at the end of the day, you just need to know that as you increase the number, it just alternates. Let's do another one. What if you want something that has, let's say there's a text that has italics like this. So what if we have space? Space this way. What would it say? So you see, if you want to make text, if you want to retain the italics, let's say there's a text that has an original italics, you want to retain it, you have to put space, all right, to add the other italics to make it on the underscore to make it italics. All right, now let's look at another one. Star sign. All right, we've seen 1 star sign. 1 star sign makes the text italics. Okay, that's the one most people normally use. In case you don't know, your WhatsApp interface on your phone uses Markdown. All right, so some Markdown commands I'm showing you here will work on your WhatsApp interface. So like I told you, so many platforms use Markdown, so many. All right, what if we put double star sign? Okay, asterisk, double. Okay, it's double asterisk gives us bold. What if we put triple? And boom, we're back to bold italics. Okay, so that's the work of asterisk. So what else can we do? We can do something. Let's say I duplicate this line. Duplicate. Okay, let's say we have a sentence this way, and now I want to okay, let's start first. So let's say you put greater than sign. What do you see? You see that it gives you a kind of quotes. All right, so like when you're writing a book or an essay, you want to highlight something, so the greater than sign will highlight it. So if you give space, you see, I can give extra space so that this will be on its own. You see, what if we double it? Okay, right, double. So the more you double it, the more you see. Okay, where do you use this? for instance, if there are subtopics, so here, let's say there are subtopics, so I can put two of the greater than sign, as you can see. So people can read this and know that this is a sort of title, and this is a sort of the rest a sub what do you call it, paragraph. All right. So this is part of Markdown, but it doesn't show on Google Collab that you can increase this up to 6 times. The more you increase it, the more the color changes. All right. But on Google Collab, it doesn't change color for some weird reason. So the color will change from red, blue, green. All right. In case you want to put a warning, you can put like 4 or 5 of these. In case you're working on Markdown in another interface, just know that you can increase this up to 6 places to change colors of this. Guys, let's do another one. So here, the space, the actual space doesn't really matter. For instance, here we could put space and it's still the same thing. Now we can do headings. So let's say we have this and we want to do a heading. What you're going to do is you put asterisk. Once you put an asterisk, it becomes H1. If you put an asterisk, if you double it, it becomes H2. If you triple it, it becomes H3. Okay, like that. You just keep going. So that's how to do headings. Now, what of horizontal rule? If you do underscore, 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 you have 3 underscores. What if you do dash, dash, dash? Okay, on this Google Colab, it doesn't work, but generally, underscore, underscore, underscore would give you a horizontal rule. All right, in Markdown. So if you want to do strike through, it wouldn't work on Google Colab, but just for you to know that strike through, if you want to cancel something, you do dash twice. Okay, once you do it twice, it's gonna rule a line across, but as you can see on Collab, it doesn't work that way. Okay, now an interesting thing is HTML works here. So if I do H1, it will work. You see, it has converted it to H1 tags. All right, this H1 is not showing. But what if I wanted my H1 to show? What do you do? There's a ticker sign beside your number 1, the number 1 on your keyboard. All right, at the top left corner, the key beside it or before it. That is the key above the tab key. If you press it once and also press it here, is the ticker. All right. What it does is that it prints the code. All right, without actually passing the HTML. You see. What if I want to write a multiline code? What if I wanted to write H1P tag whatever is in this paragraph? Okay, and then I close it, and then I maybe do BR. So whatever, this is a bunch of HTML, multiline HTML. So if you want to write a multiline, as you can see, as I'm creating the spaces, it's still not showing the code. All right, so because it's multiline, even though I have the ticker. So if you want to do multiline code, you do triple of the ticker, 1 2 3. Okay, 1 2 3, okay, like this. And then that's how to do multiline code. Make sure that the tickers are in separate lines. So the ticker themselves must be in a separate line. You see, so it converts this to a block quote. You see, so the HTML was not passed, they are running. Now, if I need normal regular block quotes, remember that this is how you add regular block quotes. This is how you add regular block quotes. So basically, whatever you want to do, you just know that Markdown is not difficult. You just need to know a handful of the commands. In Markdown, some people call these ticker signs fences. Okay, these triple ticker signs. All right, so let's look at something else, creating tables in Markdown. So sometimes you're writing a document and you want to create tables. What do? You use the pipe bar to arrange it. So if I click Ctrl V now, this is a table and these are pipe bars. What is a pipe bar? A pipe bar is the key above your enter key on your keyboard by the right hand side. If you hold the shift key and press that key above your enter key, it's going to give you this vertical bar. So once you do something like this, it will be interpreted by Markdown as you can see, as a table. You see, Really nice. All right. One thing you'll find often is that your Google Colab will always disconnect if you just leave it idle for a while. So you can always reconnect. Look at this. Okay, connecting, and in a few seconds it will reconnect. Now if you look at this table, you see that some items are aligned to the left. All right, so what if you want to align it to the right? What you're going to do is to put a colon here. All right, put a colon here. Now another thing you have to know is that these pipe bars don't have to be aligned for your stuff to work. Look at this, it's now aligned to the right. They are now aligned to the right. So as you can see, even though the pipe bars are not in a line, it still worked well. So let's look at links. Okay, creating a link. So let's create a link. So here, usually in HTML you do ahref, okay, equal to whatever link, whatever link here. Then do something like this. Click here. This is regular HTML. So first of all, let's see what happens on Collab. So you see, regular HTMLs work. Okay. Just before I show you a link, let's try something else on Collab. Let's create an input. Input type equal to text value. We'll give it null, and let's do something like this. Okay, remember you don't have to save. You see, it's there. Same thing with button. So regular HTML will work. So in case you ever forget the Markdown equivalent, just know that it will run a regular HTML. Okay, you see. So let's look at the Markdown way of creating a link. The proper way to create a link in Markdown is to use the block brackets first, and then you use the round bracket second. Okay, the block bracket is the text they will see. I can say visit our site. This is the text users will see. So inside here, without quotes, is where the link will be. So we can say Google brainterm.org. That's my site, all right, where you can get my courses, brainterm.org. So if we come here, you see that we have visit our site. So let me delete this, click here. You see, we have visit our site. Now, how do I make this bolder? Remember, we'll just do this, put this. It becomes bold, you see, visit our site. What if you want to put a title so that when people hover over it, they will see something? So you put a title inside this text, okay, you give space, whatever else you type is a title, so I can say this is the title. And then, I think there's a mistake here. This has to be in quote because there's string, so this is the title. Okay, so up here, if you hover, you see it now produces a title. Now what if you want to show an image? All right, so let's go look for an image. On Google, I'm going to search for an image and say laughing African. Okay, in case you don't know, I'm from the beautiful country of Nigeria, and African smiles are usually one of the best smiles in the world. So I'm going to choose this guy, random dude laughing, random laughing dude. Okay, now we're going to copy the image address. So copy image address is different from copy link address. Okay, copy image address. Now we have the address of the image. So if you come to your Collab, all right, let's remove this. How to add an image? Okay, let me do it here. So how to add an image? You put an exclamation mark, you put what text, and then just the same way. So let me paste here the link to the image. Okay, that's the link to the image. Then I can say click here. All right. So you see, that's how to add an image. Okay, so the possibilities are endless, and they are endless. on Markdown. But if you don't know Markdown, you're gonna struggle a lot with the whole data science thing, because Markdown is a fundamental skill you need. If there is any other thing you need in Markdown, just Google it. If you want to do anything, just Google how to do XYZ in Markdown. All right. So let's go to the next course, which is Big O notation. All right. We're going to look at something called Big O. Big O. Okay. Notation. Big O notation. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And if you're looking for the link, if it's not part of this video series, just check the link below this video and you will see the link to the